Hey, how's it going? So today I thought I'd talk about a little bit about the Dreamcast and a little bit about Sega. So as far as the Dreamcast, I think the Dreamcast 2 has been here for a while. With everything you can do to the Dreamcast, either hardware wise or software wise, it's clear to see that the Dreamcast 2 is here and it's been here for a minute. With everything that the community, the PSU, the HDMI, the connecting or turning your DSL modem into an Ethernet modem, the connecting a GDMU to it. I mean, it's brought into the 21st century. And then there's a couple or three, four engines being developed for it or in the works. And if you're a really good programmer or just willing to learn, you can make your own 2D or 3D game for the Dreamcast. And as far as Sega, I don't see them making another console. There's no way they're going to make another console. Besides the retro market, that's money for them. You know, that's as far as they're ever going to go. We had the Mega Drive, we had the Game Gear, and the Mega Drives are nothing but a small motherboard, like a chip motherboard or whatever, in the console. And then with the Game Gear, they could have done so much more with that, but it was like the same. It was like the same thing, and I would like to have seen some like original games for that Game Gear, and the same thing for the Mega Drive. That would be great, but they just don't see a point unless they stand and make a substantial amount of money. You know, Sega does other stuff besides gaming. I mean, that's true with any any one of these guys, Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft. But in order for Sega to make a console, someone had to do all the work for them, and then Sega would just put their name on it. You know, so they would have to design the console and the hardware for this to be a success. And the market's just too crowded, console wise, or handheld console wise. It doesn't matter. There's so many people making handheld consoles. There's no point. And then they would have to do something different. They would have to add something to it. You know, you have VR, and then you have the Steam Deck. You have the Nintendo Switch, and I think the market is too saturated. I forget what the other handhelds are, but yeah. Even if Microsoft were to just suddenly just drop out, Sega still wouldn't come back. There'd be no point. In order for Sega to come back into the console market, they'd have to team up with somebody. Sega has their own hardware development. I mean, they have partnerships with hardware development all over the place. They probably have like 2 or 3 or more. That's how they're able to make the retro consoles. But making an at-home console, totally different game. They're spending millions, and they don't even know if they're going to get back, quadruple that amount. Or even, because I know double ain't going to do it, so yeah, quadruple the amount. And then, as far as IPs, they have a ton of IPs. But they're not going to, the only reason they have the retro market now as it is because just to revitalize their IPs. And they're going to keep doing it. You know, I would like to see some of their old IPs brought up to a different, graphics. I'd like to see the 8-bit games turned into, 32-bit games, or, I like to see them revitalize some of their 3D games. But I think the only thing that Sega has right now that they're working on is like Yakuza maybe, and then you had Phantasy Star that came out. Those are only 2 games I think they're focused on. I think everybody has that thing. They only focus on their money makers. Microsoft does the same thing. Hell, they absorb all these different companies, and then you never see these companies again because they're focused on Halo. They're focused on Gears of War. They're focused on Fable's getting ready to come out. Fable's in development. But you never see anything from Rare. Like, it's just dead and gone. You know, if it's a quick cash grab, like Killer Instinct, because they probably made that game for next to nothing, and then it sold, and they made who knows how much off of that. But yeah, I just don't see Sega making another console. The Dreamcast has already been brought into the modern age. A lot of consoles are coming out. They recently, I think within recent years, they just opened up the Saturn, the Sega Saturn. So that's opened up for development. I would like to see if the community would, you know, what else is in store for the Dreamcast. It would be great if, you know, maybe they designed their own shell for it. Or, I mean, you have the transparent ones. Those are great. I haven't bought one yet, but those things look awesome. And I think everyone's just in love with the shape of the Dreamcast right now. So there's really no need to change anything. And how would you design around the current connections anyway? But a new look would really cement the community, I think. A completely different look. And then people could just 3D print their own case. That would be great. I would like to see Sega take the Sega Dreamcast and Sega Saturn and combine them both together and come out with a new console that has all the loads of games on there. You can't fault them for it. But their IPs are spread all the way across the place. So you wouldn't see some of the titles. I don't think you would see Crazy Taxi. I think Microsoft has that. I'm not sure. But somebody's got to do something different. They could probably do VR. I know they have I think they had a store, but they don't really get much. And like I said, they're focused on, I think they do Yakuza. I'm not sure. But if not, their name is just on it. But I'm still expecting some stuff from them, either a store or just some other way of connecting to them. They're trying something, but they're mostly into other stuff. If you look up Sega. But that's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.